Everyone is aware of the ongoing Russian invasion of Ukraine, and while I join everyone in praying for a speedy resolution and end to the fighting, I believe the more historically significant story here is not the war itself, but rather the financial battle occurring behind the scenes. As was expected following the invasion, the US and Europe slapped Russia with financial sanctions. Over the past several years, many people have come to view sanctions as nothing more than a slap on the wrist. However, the actions taken against Russia by the US, EU, UK, and Japan in late February are better described not as sanctions, but as full-scale financial warfare. Out of Russia's total $630 billion worth of foreign treasury reserves, roughly two-thirds, or $420 billion, were effectively seized overnight. The only reserves remaining in control of Russia include their roughly $130 billion worth of gold and $80 billion worth of yuan held with China, which chose not to freeze Russia's accounts. On top of this, Russian banks have been kicked off of the SWIFT network, which enables institutions to engage in international trade. In other words, Russia has been severed almost completely from the global financial system. To be clear, I am not condemning these actions taken against Russia. I am simply pointing out their major global implications moving forward. This Wall Street Journal headline sums it up nicely. If Russian currency reserves aren't really money, the world is in for a shock. The shock waves of this development go beyond Ukraine and even beyond Russia. Russia itself holds a very small percentage of US treasuries, having been aggressively selling over the past decade. China, on the other hand, holds over $1 trillion worth of US treasuries, the second largest foreign holder behind Japan. Imagine being China. You have an already shaky relationship with the US, you have your eyes set on a potential invasion of Taiwan, and you just watch billions of dollars of your allies' foreign reserves get seized overnight. To think that China is not taking note of this situation is to be extremely naive. If China were to start unloading treasuries in an effort to de-risk, they would be doing so at a most inopportune time for the US. In the coming weeks and months, the Federal Reserve is itself planning to start unloading treasuries onto the market. Whether or not this actually happens is yet to be seen. If it does occur, it is unlikely that the market reacts favorably to this selling pressure from the Fed. The added selling pressure from China would probably be too much to bear, but this is simply speculation. What's not speculation is that the current rate of inflation is significantly higher than the yields on even the longest duration treasuries. Not only are U.S. treasuries an abysmal investment from a return perspective, but they now carry unprecedented counterparty risk. What used to be known as the risk-free rate is now anything but from the perspective of many countries. What started out as an effort to halt Russia from advancing into Ukraine has turned into the self-destruction of the world's monetary system as we know it. According to Metcalfe's law, a network's value is proportional to its number of users squared. Russia's removal from SWIFT has likely accelerated plans for China and Russia to adopt alternative systems, and with Russia and China being two of the largest exporters of oil and goods respectively, simply not doing business with them is not an option. The nuclear option was played, and the US has no more cards left. Meanwhile, the elephant in the room is the global, decentralized, censorship-resistant monetary system so far being utilized at a national level only by one country. With banks in disarray in both Ukraine and Russia, Bitcoin has been offering hope to millions of innocent civilians in both countries who didn't ask for this war. Despite not being reflected in the price, have no doubt that these recent events are coiling up the spring of Bitcoin. The world is suffering from a lack of trust. Citizens do not trust their governments. Nation-states do not trust other nation-states. Bitcoin is the solution to this lack of trust, for the simple reason that using it requires no trust. The days of holding reserves with foreign nations are coming to an end, and will soon be regarded as archaic as the banking practices of the Middle Ages. The days when countries had to spend millions of dollars to secure and transport gold will be laughed at when compared to the ease and efficiency of holding and transporting Bitcoin anywhere in the world. When exactly this occurs is yet to be seen, but the self-destruction of the legacy financial system continues to fertilize the soil for the eventual emergence of a global Bitcoin standard.